Times a day do you get bombarded by the whole Bill Burr thing?
Joe Rogan sets the stage. Joe asks Billy Corgan how often he gets bombarded with the Bill Burr resemblance topic. Billy immediately acknowledges that it has been an ongoing issue, especially with family and friends asking him about it. The conversation feels light but quickly dives into the backstory.
Gets into the family and people I haven't talked to for 20 years.
Then you have to break character and tell the truth?
No, the thing is, this is what's crazy. Okay. You want the whole setup story?
Sure.
I could be quick about
Sure.
it. So where I tape my podcast is in one of Howie Mandel's buildings, and he has another building in this area. So I was working on something, and I was supposed to go on Howie's show that day. And they said, Howie will meet you out in the street or something for whatever reason. So I go out in the street, and the first thing Howie says to me when he sees me, he goes, "Here comes Bill Burr."
Billy's Howie Mandel story. Billy recounts how he was at Howie Mandel's building for a podcast when Howie jokingly greeted him as Bill Burr. This became the trigger for Billy, finally deciding to address the speculation. He explains that his stepmother told him a decade ago that Bill Burr could be his half-brother, which at the time he dismissed. But when he looked up Bill Burr, the resemblance was undeniable.
And I go, "You too? Like, do you know this story?" And he said, "No, I don't know about it." And I said, "You know what? Heck with it. I'm just going to tell it on your show, so don't ask me anymore." And I went on a show, and I told this story about how 10 years ago my stepmother came to me and said, "Do you know who Bill Burr is?" I'd never heard of Bill, didn't know who he was, because I don't really consume much, popular culture. I had no idea he was a famous comedian. He could have been the lawnmower guy.
The shocking IHOP confession. Billy reveals that on his 18th birthday, his father admitted to having another son named Bill around the same time Billy was born. This revelation lines up with what his stepmother told him later, making the mystery even deeper. His father, however, was secretive and protective about the identity of this other child. This is where the whole theory starts gaining weight.
Looked up Bill. First thing I saw was like, oh my God, he looks just like Daddy. When I was 18 years old at an IHOP on my 18th birthday, my father told me, "You have a half-brother that I sired at the same time as you whose name is Bill." So suddenly these facts come together, my mother telling me these stories. I talked to my dad subsequently about it, and he was very cagey about it. And when I said, "Why won't you tell me where this person is or who this person is?" he said, "I'm trying to protect you." So when my stepmother had told me, it kind of made sense. Like, well, if my half-brother is the super famous comedian.
Tau, uncanny resemblance. Billy describes how, upon seeing Bill Burr's photo for the first time, he thought he looked exactly like his father when he was younger. This realization made him question if there was truth to the story. The audience can feel the tension in the moment as Billy grapples with something that could change his entire family history.
My dad, in a way, wouldn't want me to know because he wouldn't want me to feel like I was number two because Bill's so famous. I know it sounds crazy, right?
You think that's why he was trying to protect you?
Well, I don't know. So fast forward to Howie saying something on the street. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to say something. And I swear to God, hand on my heart, last time I was with you in California, I almost pulled you aside after we were on, and I was going to tell you the story because I knew you knew Bill, and I was going to back channel see if there was anything to the story from Bill's side.
Wow.
So imagine 6 or 7 years since we talked on your show.
Yeah, I don't even know.
2018, somebody said to me today. But so anyway, sorry to talk over you. But the point is
Howie's influence and the social media frenzy. Billy explains that he initially shared the story in a lighthearted manner on Howie Mandel's show, but social media blew it out of proportion. The memes, the jokes, and the online speculation kept growing. Even though he made it clear that he doesn't actually believe Bill Burr is his half-brother, the internet took it and ran with it.
So here I am, fast forward, I'm just sick of seeing memes of my face with Bill's, and so I just decide on a spur of the moment, So Howie, of course, loves it. But I said on Howie's show that first time, I don't think Bill's my half-brother. I don't think there's anything there other than an uncanny resemblance. Fast forward, the thing comes out, it gets a little bit of social media, and then it goes away. And I think, good. And Bill didn't say anything, so I figured Bill was kind of like, whatever. It was a mild amusement. He could have made a joke out of the whole thing, and he didn't. So then Howie calls me, and I'm in LA working recently, and Howie's like, will you come on the show? Bill's going to be on. And I said, is Bill cool with it? Oh, yeah, no problem.
Howie sets up the confrontation. Howie Mandel orchestrates an in-person meeting between Billy and Bill Burr, leading to an incredibly awkward yet entertaining exchange. Billy describes the weirdness of the moment, comparing it to a comedy skit that turned unexpectedly real. This part of the story is where the viewer starts imagining just how uncomfortable yet hilarious this encounter must have been.
So then I go there, and it's like it turns into this thing that you see happening on camera. It's like it's weirdness times. It's like a skit, but it's real. And Bill's on me, then Bill's on Howie, and it gets just okay. So I just told you basically everything I know. Okay, I have people I've known for 20, 30 years coming up to me going, "What do you think?" And I said, "I don't think we're related. I mean, yeah, there's a resemblance, but I don't think we're related." Well, did you get a DNA test? And I'm like, "No, I don't. There's nothing to get a DNA test for." Well, I think he's your brother.
Close friends demanding a DNA test. Despite Billy insisting that there's no need for a DNA test, even people he's known for decades are now convinced that he and Bill Burr are related. The way he describes the situation, with friends pressing him for a test, adds an element of absurdity that makes the story even funnier.
So people that know me, and I'm telling him I don't think he's my brother, now they want a DNA test to prove it. That's how much it's taken on a life of its own.
Do you think it's just because they want a DNA test because it's fun if he's your brother?
No. They're convinced.
For real, for real?
Yes.
Really?
For real. I swear to God. I mean, people I'm close to, people that were at my wedding, I'm like, they're like, no, you need a DNA test.
Did Bill's dad know, did your dad know Bill's mom?
No, my father wouldn't talk to me about it at all.
Family secrecy and the missing list. Billy shares another mind-blowing detail. His father allegedly fathered up to 12 children but never revealed their identities. Before passing away, he promised to leave behind a list of names but never did. This revelation adds another twist to the story, making the possibility of undiscovered siblings even more real.
Okay, some more context.
Okay.
My stepmother in that same time, 10 years ago, when she told me that she thought Bill Burr was my half-brother.
Jesus.
This guy I don't know, right? I mean, just imagine if I say, hey, do
Right.
you know Joe Polanski?
Right.
And you look up and it's a famous comedian. That's, you know, I mean, that was...
Right.
So in that same thing with my stepmother, she told me that she thought my father had sired 12 children.
Whoa.
All
over the place.
All over the place. He was a traveling musician and a whore to his own admittance. So it kind of makes sense. He once told me he'd slept with 1,000 women. So
Jesus.
12 out of 1,000, you know what I mean? It's
Normal odds.
the math is
Actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Would Bill Burr even agree to a DNA test? Joe Rogan and Billy debate the chances of Bill Burr agreeing to a test. Billy finds the idea absurd, but Joe offers to finance it for $200. The conversation turns comedic as they joke about sponsorships and turning the DNA test into a live-streamed event.
And so when I went to my father and I told him what my stepmother had said, he got really cagey and wouldn't tell me anything. He promised me that he would write down the names of the illegitimate children on a piece of paper so I could find them after he died.
Oh, my God.
And he's died, and there's no paper.
Oh, my God.
So now I got people wanting DNA tests because they're convinced that Bill is my half-brother.
Is Bill willing to do a DNA test?
I think that's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? It's like...
No, you have to do it.
No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, first of all...
Billy acknowledges the resemblance but remains skeptical. Billy admits that Bill Burr looks more like his father than himself, which is what freaks him out the most. However, he remains adamant that they are not related. Joe Rogan, in classic fashion, suggests a simple solution. Just take the test. The humor here comes from Billy's frustration with how big this has gotten.
To Bill's credit, he's been... everything you saw on camera was his general irritation on the thing, but he also kind of finds it funny because he's a comedian.
I thought it was a skit. I thought you guys put together a skit. I really did. I thought because I thought, Bill does a lot of acting. I thought you guys were just fucking around. You like pro wrestling. I thought you guys just decided to troll the world.
Let me put it to you this way. Have you ever seen it? And I'm assuming, but you tell me if I'm wrong. Two guys get in the ring to roll around a bit, right?
Okay.
They're bros. They're going to roll around a bit.
Uh-huh.
Emotions kick in, and next thing you know, somebody's tapping somebody out.
Right.
Do you ever
Yeah,
see that happen?
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
The world-class communicator theory, Billy makes an interesting point about both himself and Bill Burr being strong communicators, wondering if genetics played a role. Joe agrees, pointing out Billy's various ventures, from music to pro wrestling to now podcasting, and how talent could be hereditary. The discussion ends on a mix of humor and genuine curiosity.